Time to delve into some complaints for another reaction video. This time we check in with those making complaints about Carnival to its brand ambassador, John Heald. Ahoy travelers, it's Amy with Cruising from the Ozarks here to help you make your travel experience a success. Our first complaint has to do with ship time versus port time. If you've cruised very often, you will have experienced the ship crossing time zones. Itineraries in the Caribbean may mean that the ship crosses back and forth several times during a cruise. Carnival ships, along with many other lines, will maintain ship time in these instances. And the best way to keep ship time as a cruiser is to either wear a regular watch, an analog watch, not a smart watch, or to shut off all the features on your smart devices that allow them to change along with the time zone. It's not a difficult process to do. Well, enough with the setup. Let's get into the first complaint. First complaint says, why was there zero communication about the time difference we had in the Caymans? Nobody from the ship told us about this. Now, first of all, that is highly unlikely. There was no advance to turn off the location services on our phones. First of all, that's not how you do it. If you are connected to the ship Wi-Fi, your iPhone changes to local time. The end result of this was that we were up and ready for our excursion 1 hour before we needed to be at 7 a.m. The ship should be on the same time as island time. Why do you not do this? It causes so much confusion for all your passengers. John Heald loves to deal with these prickly passengers with a touch of humor. He says, thank you for raising a great point. It is best to go to airplane mode and turn off the location thingy on your phone. Changing an hour forward and then an hour back is something we try and avoid on our Caribbean cruises. There are signs, of course, in the fun times, and the cruise directors do announce to please stay on ship's time if there is a time difference. Now, let's be honest here. Being early is not a tragedy. Maybe if you were late and missed it, that would be different, but being early is not a tragedy. My first issue with this is he's like, nobody from the ship told us about this. Well, that's not true. I can guarantee you they were told about this. So John dealt with this great, but I will never understand the nerve of some people, especially in situations like this. If you've been on a Carnival ship, and I am sure any ship, you know that they announce information like this over and over again. For those who are paying attention, the announcements often seem to be a little overboard. We got it already. But obviously, there is a need for the constant reminders. Honestly, this complainer seems like someone who has never researched anything about cruising, didn't read the fun times, and doesn't listen to any announcements on the PA. Take a little bit of accountability, people. I'm actually reminded of my tenure as a high school English teacher. Not only did every student have a syllabus for the class with what we were going to do every single day, but important things and dates were also written on the board and reminders given out over and over again during class. Still, there would be at least one kid in every class that didn't have a clue what was going on. You really can't help people that just refuse to help themselves. I went through quite a few comments and couldn't find any that actually agreed with the complainer on this one. But let's look at a few that didn't. So the first one says, no, every cruise that I've been on, it's been stated over and over about following ship time. If the OP, original poster, doesn't follow instructions or know how to operate their phone, that's their problem. Totally agree with this. Second person, it's called personal responsibility, people. It's not Carnival's job to educate you on the operation of your phone. Learn how to turn off the automatic time and date function. Carnival states multiple times to use ship's time and not port time, which can be and often is different. I mean, seriously, anybody who's been on a ship knows that this is stated over and over again. And like I said, it's not hard to do this. It really isn't hard to shut that off. This person says, I've only cruised twice so far, but the cruise director announces it so many times. Plus, it is posted all over in various papers, etc. We turned off our automatic time switch and had no problem. I'm an adult. I read instructions and recommendations. I have common sense. Plus, if I did mess up and get up too early, I would enjoy some breakfast at the views and relax knowing I was prepared and ready. I disagree with everything about this complaint. It's just so unnecessary. I know that they were told multiple times, and I know that it's an easy thing to deal with. Things were different when we were on the Norwegian breakaway. We actually had to change time more than once because the ship was changing along with local port times. This was new to me since I'm used to Carnival, and Carnival keeps with a ship time, not port time. I got really familiar with changing the time on my phone, and it is not difficult. But if it's a problem, just go old school. I used to bring a cheap waterproof watch on cruises before I upgraded to a waterproof Apple Watch. Do you go old school while on cruises, or is it just easier to change the settings on your phone? Drop me a comment below. Let me know what you think about this complaint. I delved into some older complaints until I found one I thought was interesting. But before we get to that, if you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something, be sure to let us know by commenting and giving this video a thumbs up. It only takes a second, and doing so helps cruisers like you find us. Our next complaint deals with whether or not bars should be for adults only. So first of all, John Heald always cuts out the names of Facebook pages and people so that it's not on the actual complaint. He edits those out. But this person says that you stated that a specific person could take her teenage kids to the piano bar. And I'm a member of this Facebook group or page, and all of us think it should be adults only. We do not want children anywhere near the piano bar. Next thing you know, it will end up like a playground with kids running around. It gets crowded in the piano bar, if there's a good entertainer anyway. So I think it should definitely stay over 18 at minimum. You should just one time listen to what the people who pay your wages have to say. Oh my goodness. Let me just, the things I have to say about this. There are some big red flags for me on this post. The everyone agrees, which is never true, and the old I pay your salary bit. Sometimes it's hard to believe these people are real, that an actual person sat down, wrote this, and thought, yeah, that sounds reasonable. But of course, John Heald deals with it gracefully, and he says, thank you. And thank you for this month's wages, which are appreciated very much. Seriously, we do not suggest that younger children are in the piano bar after 10 or 10:30 if the piano bar entertainer decides to perform some more adult-based material. If they do, then the entertainer will make sure that there is advance warning that he or she may be singing something spicy, adult-oriented, or worse, Sweet Caroline. Let me tell you, you'll hear Sweet Caroline a lot on a cruise ship. Then he drops a poll. Do you think people should be allowed to bring their children into the bars? For me, I can see both sides. While I 100% disagree with the way the OP went about this question, I do see the point. I'm not a piano bar person, but I know it's very popular, and I can see where families might want to go as a group and enjoy the music. But I can also see how some would just like a few more adult-only places to get away from the kids on board. I like to spend time in the Alchemy bar, and I wouldn't want a bunch of kids hanging out there. Personally, I lean towards the bars should be for adults only group. However, most of the bars also serve soda, and that's where the kids with soda packages are going to have to go to get their drink. Plus, many of the bars don't have their own dedicated room like the piano bar usually has. And this makes it harder to designate bars as adults only. I cruise when school is in session, so none of this is really an issue for me, but I can see where it might be a bigger deal if you cruise during school breaks. So what are your thoughts on this? Are you strongly in either camp? There were a few good comments on John's Facebook page. The first one says, it's uncommon for me to be the naysayer, but I take my lead from the name Piano Bar. It is a bar. Bars are for adults to go, swill alcohol, listen to music, and get a little loose. Bars in the real world do not admit underage folks. Why should the piano bar? Now, there was a little back and forth on whether or not bars actually let kids in or not, but let's be honest, most of the bars are places that have the name bar in their name that let kids in. They have a bar area, but it's really a dining establishment. Second one said, I think it's nice to have an area for adults. I feel like Carnival has so many areas for kids and teens to enjoy. Also on the Mardi Gras where they start singing the Alice song. I don't know what that is. It may offend some parents. It's okay to have adult areas. Even the mouse has that from what I've heard. Now, it's referencing Disney, and I've never been on a Disney cruise and really don't have any plans to ever do so. But I have heard that they actually have more adult only areas than most cruise lines, which, if they're catering to children and families, they probably need. The third comment says, the old "I pay your salary" rant. This was big for me too. For me, that disqualifies any word written by this person. I've seen kids who were quiet and well behaved in the piano bar. I've also seen adults there who were drunk and disgusting. Guess who I'd rather have there? And another one, this was kind of a whole comment. It says, we were on in October and had our 4-year-old granddaughter with us. We went early. It was not crowded and had a few drinks and listened for a while. We sat away from the bar. And a little bit before 10, the entertainer announced that things were going to start being different, and these people left. Someone responded to that and said, kids love music. My husband, when cruising as a kid, loved the piano bar and spent a lot of time there. He played piano and just loved it. I think it's fair that kids get to enjoy that too. And then another person said, there's plenty for kids to do. There should be some areas for adults only, and I would suggest that the piano bar is one of them. Remember that one of the most important reasons to go on a cruise is to be able to relax and enjoy yourself. So honestly, that doesn't sound like somebody who's cruised very often, but I also kind of agree with them. I'm not sure I come down fully on either side of this debate, but I do think it would be nice for ships to have more adult-only spaces, and choosing a few bars where kids are not allowed would be a good start. Maybe the piano bar wouldn't be one of those, but I do think a few more adult-only areas would be a nice thing. Found another comment that John Heald has addressed. This person says, hey, when you get back from your recess, you need to address the comments from the very unhappy people about express luggage delivery for platinum passengers. Now, let me just remind you, as of this time during this taping, John Heald has been off for a few days because his mother died. That's the recess this person is referring to. And he came back Thursday. So, and this is the first comment that he then addresses on his first day back to work. So this person's unhappy about luggage delivery for platinum passengers. He says, this is also promised to passengers like my cousins on the Legend who purchased Faster the Fun for big bucks. It's not really that much. They also did not get expedited luggage delivery. They are rightly insisting on a refund and have heard nothing back. Carnival promises we are supposed to have our luggage as soon as we get to our room, or at least by 1:30. This has not been happening. Promises are broken. Your passengers are unhappy and feel blighted by unkept promises. I trust, John, you will show some intelligence and respond to what is a very hot topic now. What in the world? Where does this person come off? So, I mean, this was just horrific to me, the way this whole thing went about. But even if they had been polite and hadn't called his bereavement time a recess, this is not even how things go. And if they're platinum, they should know that. So I don't know what they're talking about. Your luggage can't be in your room the minute you get on board. That would give the luggage handlers less than 30 minutes to get them from drop off into your room. That's not going to happen. So John deals with this in very well, in my opinion, and says, thank you, and thank you for your loyalty that has you at platinum level. I'm grateful to you for bringing this to my attention so that I can set everyone straight about this. If you read on our website, you will see that we say that while we process thousands of bags, Faster the Fun luggage will be expedited to your stateroom so you can unpack and get settled in for a great vacation. This means that our brilliant housekeeping team will do their very best to get your suitcases back to your cabin as soon as possible. There's no guarantee of a specific time, though, and that is why I will not be able to help your cousin with their Faster the Fun refund request. I hope they enjoyed all the other benefits. They, and indeed all our Diamond and Platinum guests and those in suites, can drop off their carry-on bags as soon as they board. And then he says, I hope this helps explain, and I'm here back from my recess to help if needed. Oh my gosh. And then he says, oh, and for me, showing some intelligence, as my father used to say, intelligence is like your underpants. It is important that you have it, but not necessary that you show it off. I mean, I honestly cannot imagine having to come back and deal with that. That is just atrocious. So the comments reflect this. One says, I genuinely hate people's attitudes. If you're getting on a cruise to relax and have fun, why on earth are you stressing about how soon the luggage gets to your room? and to be insensitive about why John was not on social media for the past few days is just ignorant. A second one says, good response, John. The passenger is just so out of line. I really feel that people need to stop being keyboard bullies. They should show more compassion for you. Recess. Wow, people are heartless. Agreed. I mean, this is just terrible. Another one said, recess? Really? While asking for you to show your intelligence, seems to me they should go look for not only their own intelligence, but also some respect for others and some manners and all the other qualities that their entitled life is missing. I love your answers to these rude people. God bless you, John, and give you peace. What more can you say to people like this? I don't know. Like I said, the issue is even without being super rude and disrespectful, that's not even a thing. I don't know where they get that. How did they get to platinum without knowing this wasn't a promise in the contract? I don't know. But then to call someone's bereavement leave after their mother died as recess, these people, there's a special place in hell for people like this, in my opinion. So drop a comment below. Let me know how you feel about this, because I'm obviously very hot under the collar about it, but I'd like to know how you feel. And I hope you enjoyed another reaction video. Why not stick around and check out this video on our last reaction video on Reddit, and then come back for more information designed to help you have an amazing cruise. Have a blessed week, everyone.